Hello and welcome back to another episode of Clarissa Cooks It All. And today we're going to be doing some homemade pasta. This is the first time I've made my own pasta, but we're going to make some tortellini today with some mushroom and leeks. Let's get started. For our pasta dough, we're going to start off with 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of olive oil to this and mix this all up until it's well combined. Once you've mixed up your dough, it's time to go ahead and start to knead your dough. We're going to knead it for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then once we're done, we're going to form it into a ball and we're going to wrap it in plastic and set it aside to rest for 30 minutes. While our dough is resting, it's time to start working on the filling for our tortellini. We're going to dice up 1 leek and about a half of an 8-ounce package of mushrooms, and we're going to saute this up and cook this down until the vegetables are nice and tender. It'll take about 10 minutes to cook. We're going to cook this in a tablespoon of olive oil with a little bit of some parsley in there as well. Once our mushroom and leeks are all cooked up, we are going to put these into another bowl and we're going to add in some ricotta cheese and some Parmesan cheese, and we're going to mix this all up and set this aside. This is going to be our filling for our tortellini. Now for our pesto, you're going to want equal parts of parsley and basil. I did about a handful of each. And to this, I added 3 smashed up cloves of garlic, about a 1/3 cup of pine nuts, and then also about a 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. Now, I did use my immersion blender with this. I wish I would have used my food processor because for such a small amount, it probably would have worked out a little bit better. But either one will work. It just took me a little bit more time with using the immersion blender with this. And then once you have this all nice and chopped up, we're going to start adding in our olive oil. I added in about a 1/4 cup of olive oil into this. And then once you have that all blended up in there, we're going to add in about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt into this. Salt and pepper to taste. Once your dough is rested for 30 minutes, we're going to go ahead and start working with this. We're going to just take a little bit of the dough out at a time because we don't want this to dry out. Now, if you have a pasta machine, that's even better. I don't have one, so I use a rolling pin for this, and you want to get it nice and thin. When I first rolled mine out, I actually had to roll them out a second time because they were still a little bit too thick. Each square that I cut made 2 more. So we're going to roll this out and continue to keep rolling it out till it's nice and thin, flipping it over and continuing to roll it out. Once you have it rolled out nice and thin, we're going to go ahead and start cutting our squares. Once you've cut your squares, we're going to take about a teaspoon of our mixture and we're going to add it in here. And you're going to fold these all up. You're going to do a egg wash to hold them together and set them off to the side as you're done. I did keep these covered once I had them done just to keep them from drying out. When you fold these, we're going to go ahead and fold them into a little triangle. And then from there, you're going to pinch the sides closed on this the best you can. And then we're going to flip the top part down. And then we're going to bring the two ends together. And we're going to use a little bit more of an egg wash. And we're going to seal these two ends up together. Once you have all your tortellinis all folded and rolled up, we're ready to go. You're going to place these into some boiling water, and these are fresh pasta, so they're not going to take very long to cook. 3 to 5 minutes is all it's going to take for these to cook, and as soon as they start to float, you know that they're done, and you can go ahead and take these out. Now, I wasn't quite sure my son, my 2-year-old, was going to eat pesto, so I did also make up a garlic butter, and for this I just put some smashed garlic into a pot with some butter, and I put it on a very low heat and just let it cook until I started to smell the garlic, and let it cook a little bit longer after that, and then set it off to the side, and that was all I did for this. So I plated half of these up with the butter and half of them up with the pesto. I also sprinkled some Parmesan on both, and on the butter ones I added a little bit of fresh parsley on there. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Next video is going to be some homemade ravioli.